Good morning, YouTube, and welcome back to Fernvalley Farms Beekeeping channel. If you're looking for beekeeping videos, this is the place to come to. My name is Vince, and welcome. Well, guess what? It's Honey Harvest 2020. Woohoo! Finally, right? We're in my new honey barn. Hopefully you've seen the video of that from before where I did like a preview of the whole thing. So now we're going to put it to use. I spent a whole lot of money getting this thing going. It's still not done yet, but it's ready to harvest honey. I would really like to open the door, and we're going to try this after we get started. I'm not sure if all the bees are going to come in here. I've got this big garage door on here. Look out, Luna. I've got the big garage door here. It'd be nice to open this, but I'm not sure what's going to happen, so we're going to wait and see. We're going to get started first, and then we'll open the door and see what happens. We start getting flooded with bees, because it's amazing how they find this stuff. That's why I've got everything covered here. This is all we're extracting today. You can see I got, what, 10 boxes here total. I should have had a few more, but one of them swarmed on me, right? So anyways, but this is still gonna be a lot of honey here. These boxes are pretty packed. So we are gonna start with the door closed, because I'd really like to kind of open it. It's a beautiful day out. So we're gonna start with the door closed and see how it goes, and then we'll just, we'll go from there. So anyways, that was my door story. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna start with these boxes. And I'm just going to let this camera roll for a while, and I'll shut it off, and I won't drag this video off forever, but we'll get it going here. What we're doing is we're extracting from here. We are going to, these are obviously covered because the bees were finding it yesterday, so then we're going to scrape into my homemade beecapping tank, which I made out of a stainless steel sink I got on eBay. Got a little board on here with a pin on it. Can you see me here? And if you put the frame on, you'll see how all this works. And then once it's, once it's decapped, we're going to put, these are actually frames that I had brought in earlier. They're covered up because the bees were finding it. So once they're decapped from in here, we'll set them in here, put the lid on them before they go in the extractor. So we're going to do that. That's kind of how the process is going to go. We've got our tools all nice and covered up. We like using the fork. This seems to work the best. Eventually I am going to buy a chain decapper, a stand-up one that you put the frames in, it just decaps it really nice. We've got the roller. These work. I don't like it. And we've got a knife. We got the knives too. And these, we might use one of these too, I don't know. But I've got two of everything. So there's two people in here doing this. But we've found in past years that the fork works the best. So my free help over here, you'll see her in a minute, she likes this. And if this is what she wants to use, because it ain't costing me a dime, right? We'll use this. And it is nice if you can't get it all off, and you'll see you scrape the frames. It works out really well. I haven't got one of these. I've seen these advertised on eBay. I couldn't get the hang of it. I have two of these. I did buy it. I see them, it kept popping up on eBay. And it works, the video looks really nice when you're trying to scrape them. I think you just need to get the hang of it. So I kept trying, and I was digging into the frames last year, so it went back in the bag. We just like the fork, the scraping fork the best. So anyways, we're gonna get started on the 2020 honey harvest. All right, let's go. All right, so we're just gonna start scraping these frames off. We're gonna put them in the extractor. Ain't it nice? Look, we have matching shirts. How cute, right? Actually, the reason we have two shirts is because she bought one, and then we washed it, and I accidentally put it in the dryer, and it faded, so they sent us another one. Wasn't it nice of them? So now we have matching shirts, see? Okay, here we go. And this works out really well with that. So what we'll do is we'll decap, obviously. Let me see if I put the camera back here. We'll decap, and from the decapper we'll go right to the while she's doing that, let me explain something here. This is kind of like a traditional honey strainer that everybody uses. It works great, don't get me wrong, it works great. It's got two baskets, fine and finer. But what also I'm using this year, and I've got all my buckets set up, I got some of these. This is a 600 micron filter. I'm really curious to see how this works. I've seen other people use it, and they use this size. I think they come 200, 400, 600, 200, 400, 600, I think. Or it might be an 8, I'm not sure. But at the feed store where I get my queens, the bee guy there, he said this one works really good, and I've seen other people use this too. So I've got I bought 4 of them. But it's nice to have a whole bunch of buckets going at one time. And if you just have one strainer, you're waiting and you're waiting, and you all know when you've uncapped honey, you're waiting for it to strain. So now I can go 1 bucket, I can have a bunch of buckets straining. And you can see on my extractor, you know, I don't understand something. When they build these extractors, why don't they build the legs tall enough for a bucket to fit underneath, right? I don't understand it. They should build these legs on these things tall enough so you can put the bucket right underneath it. So what I did is I built a platform out of a 2x6. I built a platform out of a 2x6, painted it so it looks nice, and this fits right underneath there. And the bucket will fit the same way. So, but I don't understand why they don't build these things tall. A friend of mine, he's doing his honey. He's got his on a kitchen chair, so it's up high enough. The other thing I don't understand, and this is a nice extractor. It wasn't cheap. You know, they kind of put a cone shape to the bottom of it like this, but they put the valve like way up here. Why did they design something where the valve is down here, so when you open this, it drains right out the bottom? If not, and you've all gone through this if you have this type of extractor, you got to tip the thing forward and drain the honey out. So I'm not sure why they don't do that either. The nicer ones have a cone to them. Really wants to get in the video. But the valve is still up high. I don't quite understand that. When you're done with it, put it right in that bucket. Look, stick it right back in here. That's the whole purpose of these things. This one I don't have a rack for it yet, so just set it right back. This way it'll drip right into there.
But something is there, so you have to take it out.
Huh?
Is something in there?
Well, I'm just saying, once we start getting ahead of ourselves, when you're done with it, just set it in there. This way it just can drip in here.
Where sun is dark. Why is the sun dark?
Different honey. You just set the frame right in here.
Well, I have to finish this one, but I'm starting. How many do you need for that?
4. Nice, that frame looks. That came out of my new package this year. It was Beekeeping. They did really nice. Just slide this over first. Let me show you guys how this is working. Just decaps. I got this rubber thing, and it can all just take its time and drip right down through that hole into the bucket. It doesn't matter where it goes in this sink. We're going to spin these frames. One thing about these extractors is they do wobble at first until they get going. This extractor can hold this can hold 8 frames, but I only put 4. It can hold 4 deeps and then 4 super, the super size frames. So I only put 4 in here because the inside ones are going to spin, they're going to shoot out against the other frames. I just do 4 at a time, that's all. I don't think I'm here this time. Look at this thing going. Cookie just, I know. I just set it in there. I got to build another one of these, so.
Oh. It's not going yet.
I can't put heavy, I got to put all about the same size frame, that's why. You might be able to spin some of these. Actually, let me just do it this way. Let me pull this one out.
That's not done yet.
I know, Cookie, I understand. I need to just, it's doing that because I got 2 heavy ones in here and one, hold on, I'll kill this battery. All right, well, this is where we're at so far. It's a little bit of a process. You got, hold on, my hands are all sticky. Got all these buckets straining. These 600 micron filters work pretty good. They're so fine though, it takes forever for the straining this. So I'm glad I got 4 of them. I'm gonna get more for next year But obviously it's less capping is going into the honey. But I don't care because I get to play with my new machine when I'm all done with all this stuff. Not today, that'll be a whole different episode. But you can see it coming out of the extractor. So now we're gonna spin. I'm trying to keep the honey barn door closed here. So the bees don't come in. What I've got going here is I'm taking the frames out of the I'm taking the frames out of the extractor and I'm putting them in these boxes because these are all going to go out in the pasture. And I'm going to take all these frames and put them out all these boxes and put them out in my pasture, and then the bees can just go to town. See, some of these frames didn't have much on. This came off of my split actually. There wasn't much on either side, but they started drawing comb, so. You know, these extractors are nice, but they wobble so bad. I'm going to show you a little trick you can to help help with the wobbling here. Hold on. Another thing to keep in mind when you're doing this, don't let too much honey build up in here because you'll slow that thing down. That thing can't spin as fast. That's why I really don't like how they design some of these. So you got to drain some honey out first. And you don't want to smoke your motor or ruin that bearing that's in there. So if you get too much honey in there, it's going to start slowing down because the honey's so thick. I've got one more. Yeah, I got one more of these, so I think we're doing okay. You can see how these are draining down. And we've got, what, 4 or 5 boxes to go. They're not all full of honey, though. I don't remember now. But so far, 2020 is looking pretty good as far as honey goes. And my system over here is working pretty good, where she decaps them, putting them in these totes, and I'm putting them in here, so I'll show you.
There's here where I put, ooh,
Drain
the
some of
baby.
that out. I just tip it forward to drain the honey out. I'm going to show you one little trick you could do. If you let the thing just go, it's going to wobble like hell, and it's a pain in the ass. I wound up switching this mat. I had a rubber mat underneath this box I built. I put the rubber mat on top of the wood, so it's not quite as bad, but I'll show you a little trick you can do. Let me just get this. Another thing you could do also is when you're putting your frames in your extractor, try and balance it out. If you got 2 like really heavy ones, put a heavy one on this side and this side, and maybe a lighter one on the opposite side. Don't put like heavy, heavy, light, light. It's gonna wobble like crazy. So I'm gonna take these. Like this one's kind of light. So this one's kind of light. See, there's bees coming in here. I might have to shut this door. I really want to keep the door
Look at
open.
that.
This one's really heavy. That frame is really heavy.
Don't really need to shut. Look at that, the honey.
It's fine.
It's come off the honey.
I know. Linda, get out of the way. Well, there's not too many bees in here. So that one's heavy. Actually, this one, I'm going to put this one over here. The heavy ones on the outside. Oh, okay, this one is really heavy. That's what we like, heavy frames.
Well, this is the shut. I'm going to shut that.
Yeah, I gotta shut the door.
Where's the people?
Okay, ready? So here, when you turn this on, my plan is to get a better extractor at some point. It'd be nice if you could bolt it down to something. So now I'm just gonna take the frames, turn them around. Because the outside of the frame is what's shooting the honey out, not the inside of it. Some of these deeps are really heavy. We only got one more box. I don't normally run deeps for honey, but I have some that were just loaded, so we're extracting them obviously. Okay, here we go. Done. Tip it back a little bit. I could put lids. I could stick lids on those buckets so the bees can't. And there's a few bees in here. See, now it's not bad now, see? I'm gonna go get my cart and haul some of these boxes out to the field, and that'll distract these bees. We'll get one more box of deeps done, and I'll take these out. And that should keep the bees away from here. Open the valve. Here comes the liquid gold. A bee or two, you can't help it. I don't know. I mean, if they go in there, they go in there. But you just spray them out anyway. They're not going to get into the honey. So it's nice having a bunch of these filters. You can rotate this stuff around. So I'll shut that off. We'll slide one over. We'll bring another one over. One more. Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I gotta get more for next year. These strainers. This is a good problem to have. Way too much honey, right? It's a good problem. This is a very rewarding thing. When you, all the work you go through and this is happening, it makes the whole thing worthwhile. She ain't gonna bother you. I might go get that spaghetti strainer. I can use the other basket too. Remember we did that last year? We put the spaghetti strainer in the bucket, and then we put the other strainer. Okay, let's pull these out. I need a box. Pull. Here, take these.
This one is better than
I can't. These are ready, bro. I gotta pull these out. These are gonna have a field day with this out in the pasture. We'll spin the last of these deeps, and I'll go get the wagon. I should have brought it up this morning. I'll get this hauled outside. So my sink is working really well. How much, the capping's in here? Quickly. If it starts getting clogged, take the spoon and open that, Fall down. Stainless steel is so nice to work with, especially with it just washes right off with cold water. All right, let's go ahead and get this machine to wobbling again here. Let that drain while I load this. I want to get an 18, I found what I want, it's up to 18 frames. And I'm hoping it's a lot heavier duty and it won't wobble as bad. Okay, girls, you need to lead here. Maybe I should take one of these. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take one of these boxes and put it outside.
Go ahead, do it.
Do yourself a favor, get yourself an electric one. You don't want to do this by hand. I couldn't imagine having to hand crank all of this. Spend the extra money and get yourself an electric extractor.
I don't want to get.
They're not going to fight you. They're more concerned about the honey than they are you. Well, I put that box out there in the driveway, so hopefully they'll go to that. Just be careful. Oh, this frame is busting out, that's why. This frame is breaking. Just be careful, don't push on the frames too hard, so they don't bowl out, you know what I mean?
What is that?
Don't push them too hard so they don't like push out of the, that could be a bad one too, I don't know, so.
Did I break it?
Well, no, I just pushed it out. I'll shove it back in when it's all cleaned up. Usually when you do the one side, it really wobbles bad. When you flip it around, see it doesn't wobble as bad. You can almost let go of it. Okay, you need to get out of there. Put a box outside for you guys. See now it's spinning really nice. All right, so we're almost done here. You can see what we've got going on the floor. These buckets aren't, hold on. These are all straining with that 600 micron filter. It strains a lot slower. I've got a spaghetti, well, these strainers got bigger holes, so these strain faster. And I ran out of these, so I've got a spaghetti strainer holding up the other part of this actually. And when you buy one of these stainless steel strainers, they come in 2 pieces, so I'm just using both of them. And like I said, if I get too much wax, it ain't a big deal because I'm just going to spit all the wax out anyways. I want to show you one thing here. Here's the problem. I don't like to use queen excluders. I feel that I don't get as much honey when I use an excluder. Some people use them and have perfect luck. I just don't like it. I just don't think the bees get through it as fast and make as much honey as fast. But here's the problem, what could happen. Right there, see all that, the brood? So if you don't use an excluder and you get brood up in there, that's fine. I mean, there's not a whole, I think I had like 1 frame, a little bit of brood on one side, a little bit of brood on the other. I am going to extract the honey that's out of here. I'm just going to spin it. Obviously, I'm not going to touch these cappings. So we just scrape that a little bit on this side, that side, just to get the honey off it. And then I'm going to put them outside for the bees to clean them all up. But if you don't use an excluder, you could get brood. The queen will go up in there and lay like she did. And you could leave these frames in and let them hatch, let them do their thing. But I don't want to go into winter with 2 deeps and a super, or a deep and a super. I like to go in the winter with 2 deep. So I just pulled this out. I think I had one other frame that did this. So that could happen if you don't use an excluder. It's not the end of the world. I'd say 99% of my frames did not have this on there. And I do the double deep and then the supers and it was fine. But you're going to get one here and there that's just going to do it. So don't worry about it. If you want to use an excluder, use one. It's fine. I just don't like using them. I think I get more honey without it. So I'm going to finish the last of this. I'm going to put this frame in here. There's hardly any weight in there, so it's not going to wobble. But I am going to get that honey out of there. For next year, I'm going to get a few more of these filters so I can have more. They take longer to strain, but you're getting less wax through them. So this is obviously going to sit all afternoon, probably till tomorrow morning. I'll leave this door shut. I'll put lids on this so the bees can't get at it. But I'm going to take all these boxes out. I'll show you in a second. And I'm going to put them out in the pasture. And this one. Just turn this around. See what happens? See, you spin, the brood just stays right in there. It doesn't even come out. The honey came out, but the brood didn't. So if you don't want that to happen, use an excluder. Not to say a queen can't get through it, because they could if they're small queens. But if you don't want that to happen, just don't use it. Or just use an excluder, I mean. But 99% of my frames did not have that. But I wanted to show, oh, there's a little bit. Oh, we missed a piece. This is pretty much the end of it. So this will sit, like I said, all day. I will do an update video on how much honey I got. A lot more than last year, which is good. These buckets aren't all going to be full, so I'm going to condense. I can kind of see. By the time it strains down, they'll probably all be about half full. This one right in front of me here, I'll show you in a second, it's almost full. It's going to take a little while. gotta turn this one around. I didn't get the... Okay, that one's done. Hopefully I got this one too. A little bit more on that side right there. So put that, spin that out. Oh. These plastic filters are kind of nice, but when they're heavy, they're a little flimsy. It'd be nice if they were a little more heavy duty, but they really weren't designed for honey. They're designed for paint. So they could just sit. I am, like I said, going to totally distract all these bees and send them out there. I actually put 2 boxes outside to kind of try and chase them away from here. So there's really no bees in here now. There should be a whole bunch of them out there. Not yet. All right, I'm going to take these frames. Look, we're leaking honey here. This is why I like to do this all at one time, because it makes a huge mess, and you got to clean all this up. So there. So now I'll take these boxes, and take these all out, put them out my pasture, and it's going to be a huge feeding frenzy. They can just go at it. Probably by tomorrow morning, these will all be cleaned up. Yeah, by tomorrow morning, these should all be cleaned up. So we're straining the last of the honey right here. You see it there? And I do have a video on cleaning this extractor. It washes out so easy with cold water. Or you can just put it outside and let the bees clean it up. The bees will clean it spotless. But I scrape every bit of honey out of there I can, so. Anyways, that's about it. So, Honey Harvest 2020 is done. We still got to spin the wax. That'll be a whole separate video. And I will do an update on how much honey I actually got out of all this. I think I had 10 boxes total. They weren't all filled, but it's still a lot. This is like twice as much as I got last year, so that's good. I got a lot of people waiting for it. So anyways, that is my story. Hopefully you liked this video. Do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, ring the bell. And I will see you in the next update video when I give you the total weight of what we got. And then in the video after that, we'll do the wax spinner. So I'll talk to you guys soon. All right, bye.